Morning from the cabin. So I hope it's all slept well. It's not a bad day outside. It's a little bit grey and overcast at the moment, but I do reckon we're going to get a nice little bit of sunshine a little bit later, and we might get highs of about 12 to 14 degrees, which will be rather nice. I'll be able to get my clothes horse back outside and hopefully be able to get all my clothes nicely dried. But I'm just sat back and I was actually listening to the radio, and there's just so much doom and gloom in the world at the moment where people are just struggling on a day-to-day basis. And it breaks my heart to actually think that, in this era, that there's just so much hardship going around. You've got all these wars, you've got all these different poverties where people can't afford to heat their houses, people can't afford to eat properly, you've got hygiene poverty, and things are only going to get worse, especially if all these wars carry on continue. It's only the people who have to pay all the extra taxes so they can actually fund all these things. So things aren't going to get any easier for people. People are going to struggle a lot more. I'm such a prepper at the end of the day. I like to be prepared for as many situations as possible. So if the system does go tits up, at least I know that I can actually go back to survival mode and I can actually try and provide for myself the best I can. I'm not saying that, it's going to be easy, because it'll still be quite a struggle, to be fair. But I think you've got to give yourself the best chance in this life as possible. I mean, some people think I'm crazy for actually thinking like that, but I am one of these people that I'd rather be prepared and have these things and not need them, rather than actually needing them and not being able to get hold of them. So I think we all need to be as prepped as possible. I think we need to have food sources, water sources, basic things like candles, torches, backup supplies of batteries. I've even got things like my hunting side, where I've got my rifles, I've got my crossbows, I've got my crayfish nets, I've got fishing gear. I'm stocked as much as I can. There's still a few more things which I do need to get on my list, which I'm going to try and get over the next couple of weeks, just so then I know that I'm prepared for nearly every situation that I can be. Not that I'm prepared for war, because I'd never be prepared for war, but I don't think we can. But when you hear about what is going on in the world, that when they're talking about citizen armies at the moment in the UK, where our armed forces numbers are just so low. We've got like 73,000 troops in total, and that's all we have. And they're even thinking about bringing the nuclears back into the UK as well. And the more I hear about stuff like this, the more alarm bells it actually rings for me. So I just want to be as prepped as possible, just so I can actually try and take care of myself. But basic tools I think we all need, and if we can grow a little bit of our own food just to save a little bit of money, at least then we know that we've got some food coming in. But I just think the world is literally just falling apart around us. It really is. When you look at the NHS, you look at the post office, where they own so much money to different people, or the local councils, they say, are on the verge of bankruptcy as well. The world is just falling apart, and especially with all these price increases for the local people as such, where people can't afford to heat their houses, people can't afford to eat properly. It's failing. I think the system is failing. I do hope it doesn't fail in my lifetime. But like I say, I think we should all be as prepped as possible. Some people think I'm crazy for thinking this way, but I'd rather have these things just so I am prepared. So there's nothing worse than if you need something and you can't get hold of it. Try and be as prepped as much as you can, just to take care of the worst case scenarios, and that's all I'm trying to do at the end of the day. If I've got to go back to survival mode and I've got to go back doing a bit of hunting and stuff, then that's what I've got to do. I've got my rifles, I've got snares, I've got my crossbow, I've got crayfish nets, I've got fishing gear. I think I'll be all right. I've got supplies of vegetable seeds, which might take a bit of time to actually grow, but at least you've got that hope there, that that you've got some sort of food source coming in, which is going to literally last you a little bit of time. So there's plenty of free food outside if you're willing to actually go and look for it. I do want to purchase one of these foraging books, like a nice one where you've got like all these nice pictures, so you can identify like different free foods which are actually out there. But just try and make life as easy as possible, just in case the worst case scenario ever does happen. But like I say, I do hope it doesn't happen in my lifetime. But the more I hear about all the doom and gloom on the news all the time and on the radio, it's just so depressing. So I think everyone should be as prepped as much as they can, and that's all we can really do at the end of the day. But that's my little rant over anyway. Hope you all have a good day. Stay safe.